Good morning. Welcome to Monday. Last night, some of you probably were up a little late watching the Super Bowl. Pretty dang good game. That's why today, our Cup Phillies in our Kansas City Cup.
Going to Kansas City, here I come.
Pretty good game. Chiefs back in it for after a long dry spell. So, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's jump into today and talk a little bit about a career path you might be going down if you are looking at the security field. And we talked about a lot of these different career paths over the last couple weeks. And today we'll talk about one of the ones that is kind of starting at the mid-level and can get quite advanced, right? Officially titled for the DoD and the Government Information Systems Security Engineer, or ISSE, as it's fondly known. Most of the world know this position as just a security engineer. It's a lot easier to say security engineer than ISSE. ISSE throws people off, but if we go back to looking at ISO, System Security Officer, this is the kind of the counterpart to the ISSE. So the ISO works with the program a lot to develop what the system is going to do, kind of what it's going to look like, and the engineer is generally more of the technical person that's going to go in and actually build the system securely. So you'll have engineers within IT that will be building servers and will be building the databases and building the network connections and that kind of stuff. On the IT side of the house, the security engineer will go in and make sure that the controls are implemented correctly. We'll provide advice on what new technologies to use. We'll explain how the new system or the new piece of software even can tie in to the existing infrastructure, the security architecture. So, for example, we'll be able to advise the IT folks or the program folks, this is the type of logging and monitoring system we have. Make sure that your system can output logs that will go into this type of system. Or this is the antivirus we use at the enterprise level. Make sure that your system, your building, can use this type of antivirus. So, there was a dramatic spike in the number of engineers in the security side of the house, or security in general, after 9/11. So a ton of money was pumped into this, and the role of security engineer or information systems security engineer exploded pretty rapidly, right? So we had a lot of people come in and become security engineers, right? But like anything else, we need to make sure that these folks are educated, and I say education, not only traditional education, but experienced well enough to become these system engineers. And it's important because you got to think about all the different technologies and roles and experience that an engineer will need. So they'll need to know networking. They'll need to know server technology. They'll need to know endpoint technology. They'll need to keep up with the new technology. It's a really good career field to be in because you can go from the security engineer to a security architect, building the entire environment for an entire organization, right? Let's see if we can do this. Got Maris this morning coming out and saying something for us. So up early, morning, Maris. Good to see you out there. Let's jump in and see what what this career field kind of looks like as far as pay and possibilities for promotion, right? So if we look at the country, and this information is brought to us by payscale.com. It's one of the places I try to get our pay information, so it's kind of standard as we go from one job to another. I found that if we jump from one site to a different site, the pay jumps around. I think PayScale is about correct for nationwide average I've seen. In some areas you may see it's a little low. I think some of their pay for the East Coast is a little low, but they're saying nationwide security engineers, regardless of kind of where you're at in the pay scale or your experience, it's about $107,000 annual pay for a security engineer across the country, kind of averaging everything out. So we can see it's a little bit higher out in California. San Francisco, you're a little bit over 127,000. Up in Seattle, you're about 106,000. Out in New York, about 108. And like I said, I think DC is a little low. They're showing about 90,000 and a half out in DC. Still pretty good ranges. And thinking about when we look at this, so if we look at where everyone's at, let's take that old stuff off there. Still on payscale.com information. The experience level, you can see the pay as it bands up. Starting out early, if you're 1 year into the security engineer field, you're about $75K, and then as you progress, about midway through your point, about $113,000, and towards the top, again according to PayScale, $122,000. I've seen some areas out in the East Coast out here substantially higher than this. If you're working in a field like the government where you're carrying a clearance or something like that, you can expect a clearance to get between $10,000 and $20,000 more, depending on what level your clearance is. And a lot of times, if you're specializing in an area, like if you're specializing in financial services or pharmaceutical or even automotive now, you can see higher wages based on those fields. So intelligence community within the government, DoD within the government, sometimes are a little bit higher. I would say especially the intelligence community. And then those specific areas that really, really need these people. Financial services, pharmaceuticals, automotive industry, and others on the private sector side are growing pretty rapidly. One thing good about this field is you can see it's been around a while, and if you look at where people are in their career, right, you see about half the population of the survey respondents from the PayScale survey, about half of them are entry level and early career. More importantly, mid career is a good chunk of people, but then you have some folks in that experienced and late career. So you can expect the mid career folks probably to move on, a percentage of those folks to move on to jobs like security architect or even chief information security officer, chief security officer, or chief information officer, CIO, or other management jobs. And then you're going to see a lot of the experienced and late career folks retiring and moving off to enjoy, the fruits of their labor. So you can expect within the next, 10 years or so, probably about half of the folks in this field moving on to something else or retiring and getting out of the field. So there's substantial area for growth in the field. So again, I say a good position to be in, a good job to be in. Like I say about the ISO, a good place to start. I would say start out as ISO, get your feet wet, learn a lot about a lot of different technologies, and then as you progress, you can get into a field like engineering, so security engineering. Again, not a place where I say you start out in the security field, but if you're in the security field, you're moving around, you're trying to look for the next new thing, get into engineering. It's a good field. It does require you to know a lot of different technologies, but security is going to be like that in general. You're going to have to know a lot of different things. So no different with the engineering field. You'll need to know, as I said earlier, a lot about new technologies coming out. Look at not only the things like traditional networking, server security, endpoint security, but think about things that are coming out like Internet of Things, cloud security, serverless technologies, those kind of things like that. So I would say a good career field for anybody looking to have longevity in the security world. Again, my kind of path I would see if you're coming into security, start at an ISO, work as an ISO for a while, become a security engineer, become an architect, and then maybe move off into the C-suite or management. Just one of the paths you can use. There's plenty of paths we'll talk about. But security engineer is definitely one of the ones, kind of that second level you'd get to after you've been in security for a while. So hopefully you're having a good morning. Again, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs for their win last night. Enjoy your day. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when new content's coming out, and be safe out there.